We continue with our class laws of Yom Tov. And we start with Sefer Shmiras Lashon. And today's topic is non-kosher conversations. Conversation. If one begins speaking with Reuven concerning Shimon, and in the course of the conversation becomes aware that Reuven bears Shimon's ill will, he should either bring the conversation to an end or drive it to some other subject. Similarly, if one begins to speak and suddenly realizes that his own words are leading toward Lashon hara, he should muster the spiritual strength and abruptly change the subject. In the same way that we would spit out the food that was chewing, were he concerned that the word become aware, were he to become aware that it was not kosher. If this will cause him discomfort or embarrassment, he should bear in mind that the sages say it's better to be considered a fool for all one's days in this world and not to be considered wicked even for a moment before the omnipresent. It's Mishnah Iduyos 5:6. So one more time, and we're going to explain. If one begins speaking with Reuven concerning Shimon, and of course a conversation, right? So a person talks to Reuven about Shimon, and then he understands that the Reuven does not like Shimon very much, whatever happened, right? He should either bring conversation to an end to divert it to other subject, as we said last week, I guess. No, not today's. Today's what? Today's Wednesday. I think it was this week, right? When we said that it's like a putting a stumbling block in front of the blind. So now you provoking this guy Reuven, right, to say something bad about Shimon. So you have to stop. You have to stop, change the subject, something, right? But you cannot continue because it's only a matter of time until you take a pause and the Reuven is going to speak about Shimon. Similarly, one begins to speak and suddenly realize that his own words are leading toward the Lashon hara. He should master his strength, spiritual strength, and abruptly change the subject. Of course, it's not easy, and it takes have to make up the reason why you're stopping, or we must understand in the eyes of the other side we will look fool, stupid, right? So, you were speaking about one subject, that then you said no, let's speak about something but it does not make any difference, right? And it's amazing comparison, right? He said in the same way that would spit out the food that he was chewing, were he to become aware that it's not kosher. So somebody told you that the food is not kosher. Are you going to continue chewing or even swallow because you're embarrassed? No, I mean, at least normal person would not get embarrassed, just spit it out, right? Somewhere in the napkin or somewhere, but not continue eating, for sure not. If this will cause the discomfort or embarrassment, or people are going to laugh, okay, he should bear in mind the sage's words better to be considered fool all the days on one life. And that's amazing. Amazing thing, amazing idea that we all of us have to have in mind, constantly, right? What sages say, it's better for one to consider fool, to be considered fool in all one's days. So consider fool. It's not like we're a fool, right? Not all. Some people would consider us a fool. Okay, no problem. All the days in this world, right? It's only in this world, and not to be considered wicked even for a moment before the omnipresent. So let them consider us fool, but not wicked. Okay, Mishnah Iduyos 5:6. Continue. As already mentioned, the restriction against discussing the individual with that person's adversary applies only when one feels himself unqualified to make peace between two. So if you came there with intention to make peace, right, and you prepare and you have all of the facts right, and you understand that you cannot believe this side, so you just you like whatever this person, this Reuven is going to say about Shimon is most likely not true, right? Or that doesn't matter if it is true. Anyway, it's Lashon hara. You're not allowed to believe. So if you feel that you qualified to make peace, yeah, that's a different story, right? But otherwise, don't do it. However, when one can play a role of peacemaker, it is a mitzvah to listen to each party grievances in order to settle the feud. Okay, so in this case, commentators say it's going to be lataelas for constructive purpose. So if it's for constructive purpose, of course you can listen because you need to understand where the grievances are. Like what is what is that they cannot divide or something. Okay. So this time, but otherwise, don't, as Chafetz Chaim said, don't talk about people. Period. Right, and not to talk about people. Don't go to the people who like to talk about people. Like, why waste your time? Okay. Any questions on what we said? Basically, the bottom line: do not provoke. Okay, so we continue with laws of Yom Tov, and we start a new chapter today, 11, cooking, bishul. And it says, so I think cooking is one of the most known Melachah, I think. One of the 29 categories of Melachah, bishul, right? Bishul, meaning cooking. Bishul is literally defined as cooking, but actually this category includes the preparation of food in any manner through the application of heat. For example, baking and frying. So usually when people say cook, it means something with the water, right? So if you do like, nobody say I'm going to cook bread. You bake bread, right? Because it's a different the different method of preparation. But halachically is cooking. Meaning the bishul, the melach of bishul is using heat to improve the food. Okay, so it could be any kind of preparation of the food, right? As he said, cooking meaning with water, baking meaning without liquids, and frying is semi cooking, right? So we would say it depends how much oil there is, or liquid in what they fry. So if it's a lot, meaning that covered like deep fried, so it's for sure it's cooking. If it's only a little, they just spray in for the food not to get stuck to the frying pan, so it is baking. Right, the same you do with if you put the bread, you put some oil on top, or right on the bottom, not on top, on the bottom, right? So same. Okay, so it's baking. Or if you have more oil that is need to that they need to fry, right? So that's a questionable thing. Is it baking? Is it cooking? That's not such a easy thing. So is it bread or not bread? Basically, that's our question. Okay. Continue. Some cooking, baking, and the like are prerequisite for the preparation of food. They are permitted on Yom Tov under rule of Hel Nefesh. Right. So as we said before, cooking and baking, whatever we need to prepare food, there is no problem whatsoever. Of course, on Shabbos it is forbidden, but on Yom Tov there is no problem. No problem. It is permitted to cook on Yom Tov only for the needs of that day. So again and again and again he repeats, and it's very, very important. So only on that day. So you're not allowed to prepare for the next day, and you're not allowed to prepare for the day after the Yom Tov, whatever is it. Or it could be Shabbos, or it could be weekday. Doesn't matter. Right? So we have to remember that. Of course, we said that if you do without counting, and it's same in in a same event you don't have to do like individual pieces, stuff like that. So we said you can cook more. You're not obligated to count, right? But you cannot have intention to cook for the next day. Similarly, it is forbidden to cook on the first day of Yom Tov for the use of the second day, because the second day is not sanctified on the biblical level, as explained in chapter 4. See how chapter 35 regarding Erev Tavshelin. 35, we're going to get there. So just to remind us, so today we know exactly when, after the calendar was established, so we know exactly when it's 15th of Nisan. We know exactly when it's 15th of Tishrei or 1st of Tishrei on Rosh Hashanah. Like, we know exactly. Right? So meaning the second day is biblically, not biblically, rabbinically mandated. Of course, we keep it. There is no problem. It's exactly the same restriction as the first day, but we know we know the difference. First day on biblical level, second day is rabbinical. So for sure you cannot cook for one day to another. And Erev Tavshelin, just it's going to take us some time until we get to chapter 35, but we discussed it before a little. So meaning when the holidays Thursday and Friday, and it happened several years in a row, like all of the holidays were Thursday, Friday, and then Shabbos. So of course, how are you going to cook on Shabbos? So we did Erev Tavshelin, and we explained. So you prepare. We start cooking before the holiday, so on Wednesday. So right, let's say on Wednesday, and then you say there is special procedure, and you say I'm going to continue cooking. So I'm not starting. There is nothing new. I'm going to continue cooking for holiday. Okay. So part number 1. Cooking that could have been done before Yom Tov. And another big rule we said in all of this, even though the things are permitted to do, but if it's if you could have done before Yom Tov, you would be allowed to do it only with deviation, with the shinui, right? Some kind of punishment. Okay. Since the food generally tastes better when it's freshly cooked, it is permitted to cook it on Yom Tov, even things that could have been cooked beforehand. Okay, so if it's tastes better, so meaning it's in honor of the Yom Tov, there is no problem whatsoever. Just do it. Okay, on Yom Tov. This is true even if one is able to prevent the food, cook before Yom Tov from spoiling. For example, by refrigerating it. So in olden days there was no refrigerators. In some countries there were ice box. I don't know if you heard about ice box. Ice box is something like during the winter they would preserve some pieces of ice, right? So underground and stuff like that, and they would use it the whole summer in the ice box. It's very interesting, right? But it's only in some countries, like when you have ice. Okay, so all right, so but even today you can refrigerate it. So and that's actually what we do today. But if of course many dishes like freshly cooked they taste better. But okay, no problem. Even one normally cooks in advance and refrigerates or freezes his food, he's permitted to cook fresh on Yom Tov. So even though on all other occasions, for example, they both working full schedule, so the wife would cook for the whole week, or whatever, like a few dishes, and she would put the refrigerator. Okay, there is no problem. Some people I know, the men is the Eastern mentality. So he said, you going to eat from leftover, and I heard it when I would say if from several people, leftover, men should not eat leftover. It's you normal, right? So yeah, she said that's why you get married. So she would cook like every time fresh. Some mentalities. I think it's from Arabs. It's like from the, not from like this from Asian countries when there is Asia Minor, right? Or the many Muslims, so they got it from there. But for all other people, so we can cook for a few days. Nobody, like in my family, nobody cooks like for one day. Nobody. Like it's too much burden. So she would cook soup, for example. So we eat, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days. Doesn't matter. I'm fine. Okay. Right. So even though you would do this during the week, but on Yom Tov you want fresh. So it is the respect of Yom Tov. Enjoy it. Okay, no problem. It's not forbidden. Exclusion. There are, however, certain foods that would taste is not affected by being left overnight. That are just tasty on Yom Tov, and sometimes even tastier when they are prepared before the Yom Tov. Right. So as we said, like not worse, but even better. So what is it? As we learn in chapter 2, Melachah that can be done before the Yom Tov and achieve the same result as one done on Yom Tov should be done before the Yom Tov. Again, so our sages try to protect us against us, right? So if there is not a big difference in what is it in taste of the food, so I mean they try to do it before Yom Tov. So for example, with the same food, the same soup that was cooked on Friday. So we eat Friday night, and then so I mean we leave part of it, and then we put in a slow cooker like overnight for Shabbos day. It's like 2 different dishes, like not even close. So I mean the one on like that was continue cooking, staying wherever it was on Shabbos day, much better than the soup. I mean totally different. So and if it would stay in the refrigerator and you warm up, I think it's also fine. Okay. So continue. Okay. So so if you could you could do it with the same result, you should do it before Yom Tov. Therefore, it is forbidden to cook such food on Yom Tov. Example of this cooked fruit and jello. I'm not sure. Okay, so I mean jello is jello. I mean once you cook, you can stay in the refrigerator. I don't know how long, but there is no problem. Okay. In the event that one did not cook the food prior to Yom Tov, he may cook it on Yom Tov by employing shinui, an unusual method. As we said, this is some kind of punishment. For example, one should first put the pot on fire and then add ingredients to it. So for sure, nobody does it like this, right? So first you prepare your soup, you pour water or whatever you do, ingredients, and only then you put it on fire, right? So nobody puts on fire like empty pot. Or vice versa, depending on which it is customary way of cooking the food. Okay. However, one was for some reason unable to cook it before the Yom Tov. For example, he did not obtain until Yom Tov, whatever food. One is permitted to cook it on Yom Tov, even if in ordinary manner. See chapter 2. So basically, there are some exceptions. For example, somebody was sick, somebody was busy doing a mitzvah, like for the needs of the community. That's for sure is a good excuse. So we would not punish that person, and he would be or she would be able to cook it normal way. Okay. Continue. Any questions on what we said? Part 2. Okay, no problem. Continue with part 2. Cooking more than needed. So we actually discussed it before, right? A. Extra portions. When cooking on Yom Tov meal, it is not necessary to calculate the exact number of portions needed. One may prepare large enough amount of food to ensure that there will be sufficient food for people to eat as much as they wish. Okay, so one more time, and we're going to explain. When cooking for Yom Tov meal, it's not necessary to calculate the exact number of portions needed. So okay, maybe people want to eat like extra on Yom Tov, right? So okay, there is no problem. So maybe during the week they eat different dishes on Yom Tov, only this dish, whatever is it. So you're not obligated to count, right? So one may prepare a large enough amount of food to ensure that there will be sufficient food for people to eat as much as the wish, and plus maybe guests are going to come. Maybe people would want to eat, to take extra, right? So it would be very embarrassing to tell them that we don't have. Like a few times it happened to us, like when we used to have guests. A few times we invited young people, young fellows, right? And the guy, like I don't know, like where he grew up, no manners. So he came up, they like, and brought with him like five other guys. Of course, we did not expect so many people. I mean, it was food, like, but nothing for the next day. Basically, they young fellow, they ate everything. Baruch Hashem. So in the sense, so if you suspect that something like this could happen, so of course you should cook much more. Okay. B. Cooking more than will be used. Okay. As in chapter 4, that when one performs permissible melachah on Yom Tov, one is permitted to increase the amount of the product beyond what is needed on Yom Tov. Thus, when one cooks on Yom Tov for Yom Tov meals, one may cook more than he needs for that day, even though the extra amount is being cooked for the next day, right? So we said let's read this condition because it's very, very delicate condition. So we said if it was his intention, this would be forbidden. Right? So let's see the condition again. It said chapter 4 that when one performs permissible melachah on Yom Tov, one is permitted to increase the amount of the product, right? So we said increase meaning don't count in the case that I mentioned. Like, of course, I mean 5 people. It's like 5. No, he brought four his hungry friends basically. So we invited this guy, and it happened a few times to us, right? And he brought his friends without telling us basically. So one is permitted to increase the amount of the product beyond that he needs on Yom Tov. Okay, no problem. Thus, when one cooks on Yom Tov for the Yom Tov meals, so always keep in mind. So it's only for today, nothing is for tomorrow. One may cook more than needed for the day, even though the extra amount cooked for the next day. So if you don't have an intention to cook for the next day, there is no problem. So you can use this whatever leftover, like not leftover. Leftover is good word. So leftover for the next day. However, 3 conditions must be met in order for this to be permitted. Number 1, the entire mouse must be cooked in one time. So meaning, as we explain, what is not in not one time. When you do like individual pieces, so individual pieces that's like, for example, you frying fish, right? So it's only a certain amount of pieces on one frying pan, so you have to like take off and fry other pieces. So that's too much work. So now like it would take you much longer time. But if you're making a soup, for example, and doesn't matter, you put so much water, it takes I don't know, a few more seconds to pour more water. And you put all the ingredients there, so and it cooks like you don't do too much extra efforts. Basically, that's the idea, and everything done in one time. So you don't do anything extra in one time. I mean, in one cooking, is it like bigger pot is going to cook much longer? And like even if it's going to cook much longer, longer, I don't know much, but longer, it's not like you're doing something extra. It does it on its own. So that's number 1. Number 2, no extra effort may be involved in cooking the extra amount. That's what we just said. Okay. And number 3, one may not mention that one is doing more than is needed for Yom Tov. Okay, so we said it's very thin line. So yeah, I'm cooking. Period. That doesn't matter. I'm cooking. Yeah, I'm cooking. So if a person had in mind that I should cook enough for today and for tomorrow, that's a problem. Here we go. We will elaborate now on these conditions. Number one, the entire amount must be cooked at one time. Okay. As we learn in chapter 4, increasing the amount is permitted only when one performs a single act of Melachah to both the excess amount and needed amount. So meaning that you don't do anything extra, or maybe it's not too much extra, I would say. In this manner, since one is allowed to do the act for the sake of preparing a small amount, there is nothing wrong with doing it to the large amount. Okay. For example, one cooking pot of meat to be eaten on a day of Yom Tov, one may put as much meat as he wishes, but only before he puts the pot on the fire. So meaning you prepare as much as you want, and then you don't add. When one person starts adding, it's like it's already looks like it for the next day. He's worried that it's not going to be enough. Okay, so prepare the whole pot of meat, whatever you do, and put it on the fire. No problem. Thus, when Melachah performs, when he actually performs the Melachah of cooking by placing until before it is on a fire, it's not cooking. It's very interesting. So we said that it's a part of preparation. So what is the definition of cooking? As we said, applying source of heat, any source of heat, to food to improve the taste, right? So it's very interesting. So before you put it on a pot, on a source of heat, this pot, so it's not considered to be cooking, right? So it is forbidden to cook for the next day. So when you prepare the stuff in the pot, it's not cooking. That's when he actually performs the Melachah of cooking by placing the pot on the fire. He performs just a single act of Melachah. So, and if need to be stirred, so that doesn't matter. You would need to stir anyway. Okay. Single act of Melachah to both needed and extra food. Okay. The fact that he put extra pieces beforehand does not constitute a separate act of Melachah, right? So, because again, Melachah is put in on the fire, since the pot was not yet on the fire at that time. However, one is not permitted to the extra meat, for example, meat not needed for that day, to the pot that is already on the fire. So now you're doing something extra, because adding meat at that point is considered separate act. So you're adding separate pieces of meat to that pot that is on the fire. Okay, 1 second. A separate act of cooking. Okay. It is therefore equivalent to cooking on Yom Tov for the next day, which is forbidden. So cooking and cooking again. So halachically. For this reason, there is forbidden to fry unnecessary portion of food, such as blintzes, on Yom Tov. Okay, so like blintzes, fish, whatever, like individual pieces, because it's not one act. So you have to fry, then you have to turn over, then you have to wait, and then this and that. So for sure, this individual piece is a separate story. When frying, each piece must be turned over separately, exactly, and doing so is considered separate act of Melachah cooking. So meaning you apply this uncooked side, like you apply heat to this uncooked side. Right? And doing considered separate act of Melachah cooking for each piece, because one lifts the piece momentarily and then returns to the frying pan. That's unbelievable insight. So you in order to turn over, you have to lift it even for 1 second, whatever, and put it back. It's very interesting, right? So it's like a separate act. A similar one would not be permitted to peel extra vegetables that are not needed that day, since the peeling extra vegetable requires separate Melachah activity. There's Melachah of Borer, which is for each extra item. So this maybe our example with the soup. I mean, with the soup, it's hard to say like how much you need it. So if it's definitely for sure you cannot eat it this day, so it would be forbidden. But otherwise, it's like maybe if people would eat a double portion, maybe it's going to work. So, but with meat, I think it's the best example, right? So meaning for sure there's no preparation efforts. Right, so you put some whatever spices, you put some water, and you put salt, all of these spices on top, and that's it. You cover the lid and it start cooking. With the vegetable extra, like if it's much extra vegetable that it for sure for the next day, of course they say it is forbidden, not because of the cooking, but because of the different Melachah borer. Borer meaning sorting. Right, so we're allowed to separate bad from good or good from bad on Yom Tov, but only for the needs of the Yom Tov, as we said before. Right, if it's is done for like on a large scale, so absolutely it's forbidden. Okay, so gotta be very, very careful. Number 2, no extra effort may be involved. The second condition is that no extra effort involved in preparation of extra item for cooking. For example, I guess if somebody wants to cook this big soup or something, if he would prepare these vegetables, peel this vegetable before the Yom Tov, right, the potato, and you can keep it in water, there is nothing wrong, and then cook it on Yom Tov, there is no problem. Like and then just put it, take of refrigerator this pot, I put it on a stove, and when it's cooked, they would be permitted, right? No extra efforts. For example, when filling the kettle for the use of a Yom Tov, one may fill it with extra water, intending to use the extra water for the use. Kettle for use of the Yom Tov, one may fill it with extra water, intending to use the extra water of the next day. The slight extra effort requiring to fill the kettle with extra water is not considered a significant exertion. However, breading extra pieces of chicken and add it to a pan, even before it puts on in the oven, is forbidden because extra effort is required to bread each extra piece. And this extra effort is forbidden on Yom Tov. So this it's very interesting example. I mean, we said with fish, with chicken, that doesn't matter. So to bread, right? To bread, so that's too much. That's too much effort. So to put extra water, it's not too much extra effort. But now to bread the piece of chicken or fish, it's an extra effort. Number 3, not mentioned that Melachah is being done for tomorrow. So we say that we're doing extra, but we're not saying out loud that it's for tomorrow. The third condition is that when adding extra amount, one may not say to others that he is doing so for the next day use, even though it's one intention. So intention is one thing, but like saying out loud is totally different. Okay. Okay, so let's do now. Next section is C. Cooking extra quantity to enhance the food. Okay, it is permitted the extra quantity to a pot of cooking food in order to enhance the flavor of the food. Okay. For example, when making a chicken soup, it is permitted to add additional pieces of chicken to the soup after it is on a fire, even though the extra pieces of chicken will not be eaten on Yom Tov. Right? Why? I mean, that's a very, very brilliant example. Because they enhance the flavor of the soup. Soup you're going to eat today, okay, you don't need the chicken for today, so many pieces, but for sure it's not because of the chicken you're doing, but because of the soup. Okay, inflation. This is permitted even in addition if additional effort is needed in order to prepare the extra food item. Similarly, one may add extra food to the pot to ensure that the pieces he wishes to cook will not burn. For example, if one needs to make a small potato kugel, but only has a large pan, very interesting, in which to bake it, and he is afraid that the small kugel will burn, he is permitted to peel extra potatoes to make the kugel kugel large enough to fill the large pan. It's very I would say unexpected example, but very clever example, right? They say even though you need a small amount of food, the kugel is like a potato with the flour or something, like they mix, and with some spices they put it and bake it, right? So for sure dry food. That's one of the foods that we are allowed to warm up on Shabbos, but it's very not healthy food. Very filling, not healthy. So if you want to gain, I don't know how many pounds and fall asleep right away, that's the best food to kill you spiritually, right? So for example, one is this. He wants only small potato kugel, right? But needs has only like big pan. So if you cannot make it thin, like I don't know what is it thin, like 1 inch. They usually make it like 2 inches, 2 inches plus, three, not three too much. Sorry, maybe 2.5 inches. Like it's the best size. Okay. The last time I ate kugel was very long time ago. We don't eat this food. Okay, but very interesting. All right, so they say okay. So since the only pan to make it is large, so you can add extra potatoes. So of course you're going to the rest you're going to eat it only tomorrow, but it was in order to prepare this for today because of the lack of the correct utensil. It's very interesting. Very like simple, logical, but very unexpected examples. Okay. Any questions on what we said so far? Yes. Go ahead.
So one of the goals is to reduce the melachot that we perform when we're cooking. What about cooking on Yom Tov on a microwave? Because it would be turning on and off like a few lights and completing like a circuit, and then you have to cook, which is another melachah.
No, we're not allowed to use these appliances on Yom Tov unless they always on. You understand? So you would not be allowed to turn on the microwave.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. So there is some difference of the opinion, and I'm going to explain. So according to the most stricter opinion, so you're not allowed to turn off. I apologize. You're allowed only to take back. The most stricter opinion. So you're not allowed to turn off even this heating tray, right? This plata, hot plate. Right? So you're not allowed. So some people keep it on for 26 hours. Another opinion, so more lenient, says that you're allowed to actually to turn off. So whenever you don't eat. So for example, if we stop eating, I don't know, like approximately like 1 p.m., right? 1 p.m. So like, according to that opinion, you can have this timer that would switch switch off, right? Because maybe fire hazard, maybe it's danger, maybe it's hot, maybe inconvenience, maybe all of the other things. Okay, so it's possible. And the third opinion is actually said that the most lenient opinion, not everybody agree, of course, but the most lenient opinion said that you're actually allowed to use timers to turn on when needed, like in the morning, for example. So the whole night is going to be off, your platter is going to be off, and in the morning it's going to turn on. And then off again. Okay. Any other questions before we continue? Okay. So let me see when it ends. 1 second. Okay, so I think we can end it. Finish. Okay, so part number 3. Actually, we see how it goes. Maybe it takes more time. Part number 3, summary of the laws. The Melachah of Bishul. Okay. The Melachah of Bishul, cooking, covers every method of preparing food through the application of heat, whether by cooking, baking, roasting, or frying. Okay, Bishul, we got it. Cooking is not literally cooking, but all of the application of heat, whatever heat is it, to make the food cooked. Okay. Next one, cooking is permitted on Yom Tov under the rule of Chel Nefesh. However, it pertains only to food that are needed for that day. So Chel Nefesh, whatever people usually need to eat, right? People usually need some food, right? But only for that day, meaning not for the next day. Cooking for the use of next day is forbidden. Even the next day will also be Yom Tov. So that food will be forbidden. Okay. Continue. Cooking that could have been done before the Yom Tov. Since food generally tastes better when it's freshly cooked, it is permitted to cook on Yom Tov even something that could have been cooked beforehand. Okay. Even if it could have been kept fresh by a refrigerator or freezer. Okay. So technically, if you prefer to cook on Yom Tov, right, because you think it's going to be better, so nobody's going to stop you, right? Even as we said in an example, even during the rest of the year, you don't act like that. So you usually cook for next week ahead. Okay, no problem. Continue. So some people actually, what they do, like honor of Shabbos, so they eat cook a lot on Shabbos, not a lot, but some extra on Shabbos, and then eat a little of that Shabbos food during the week. Of course, the taste would be different because there is no Shabbos, but still. Okay. Next one, foods that are just as tasty when cooked a day or two in advance. For example, cooked fruit must be cooked before the Yom Tov. Okay, so as we said, another example, we said jello. So if there's no difference whatsoever, right? If you cook before the Yom Tov, so you should have done it before the Yom Tov. As we said, the days are so short. Like when exactly you have time to cook? Continue. One who did not cook this type of food prior to Yom Tov may cook it on Yom Tov by employing a shinui. Okay, we said that. No problem. Right, by employing a shinui. Meaning that the food that would be as good if we cook before Yom Tov. Next one. If person was for some reason unable to cook the food before the Yom Tov, he may cook it on Yom Tov without shinui. Meaning, as we said, he was busy in mitzvah, somebody was sick, tending to the needs of the community, whatever was it, so like a good reason, so he can cook normally. Okay. Next one, cooking more than is needed. When cooking for the Yom Tov meal, one need not be concerned that some will be left over, but may cook enough to ensure that there will be sufficient food for everyone eat as much as they wish. So that's our always like mindset. So I'm not cooking for the next day, but in case the guests are going to come, in case everybody would take 2 extra portions, so there is no problem. So I would have enough food. If the guest not going to come, nobody is going to take an extra portion. It's going to be enough for tomorrow. Okay, so continue. It is permitted to increase the amount of that one cooks. There is to add to the pot an extra measure. This is definitely not needed that day, provided 3 conditions are met. Okay. So if there is, for example, you don't have guests that are coming, right, unannounced, right, and you for sure you're not going to eat so much, for sure. Okay, so but you still want to cook extra. So the 3 conditions. Number 1, all food must be placed in a pot in advance, so that when pot is placed on the fire, only one act of cooking will occur, right? So act of cooking, as we say, applying the heat, when you put everything, all your spices, all your chicken or whatever you do in this pot, so it's not actually cooking, right? It's just preparation. So, and if there is no border, for example, if there is no sorting, as we said, if you make it soup and you peel all of the potatoes before the Yom Tov, there is no problem whatsoever. You just put it in a pot, right? So there is no other Melachah basically. Number 2, no extra effort may be done to prepare a needed item for cooking. Meaning what? That you put everything into this into your pot, and with one act you put it on the fire. Okay, that's it. So like what is forbidden, as we said, like when you fry in separate pieces, that would be like extra effort for sure. Number 3, one may not mention the extra amount being cooked the next day used. I say, like, in my mind, like it makes sense. Don't even think about it. So you just cook. So basically, if we're going to eat today, it's good. If not, so it's going to be leftover, whatever. So my concern that it's going to be more than enough for today. That's it. So more than enough, maybe somebody would want to eat extra. That's it. So that's don't think about next day. That's my personal advice. Even though we say the only thing that is not allowed is to mention it out loud. Continue. It is permitted to add unneeded food to a pot of cooking food in order to enhance the flavor of the needed food in the pot, or to prevent from burning. This is permitted even extra effort in is allowed. So a beautiful example is when he said that when you don't need extra pieces of chicken, but you want this chicken soup to taste better. So you're not adding these extra pieces of chicken, even after the pot is on a fire. Like maybe you put too much water and only a few pieces of chicken. So it's not going to suffice. So right. So maybe you since you put so much water and so much other ingredients, so you want to put a few extra pieces. No problem. Okay. So continue. Any questions on what we said? Okay, so I mean, we spoke about it as he said. See chapter 2, chapter 4. I mean, he was speaking about it this before, but it was applicable to different melachas. Now he combined everything in one chapter. So it's I say it's not like there is a new material, but like there are a lot of things that we discussed before. Okay. So part number 4. Practical applications. A. Cooking extra chicken. It is permitted to cook a roast, the entire chicken, even though one intend to use only small part on Yom Tov. That's another good example, right? So you're not obligated to cut pieces from the chicken. You just roast the complete chicken, right? And leave the rest for the next day of Yom Tov. Okay, so you can do complete chicken, or after Yom Tov. So like. Complete chicken is not extra pieces. Okay. However, breading extra pieces of chicken is forbidden due to the separate effort involved in preparing each piece. So there is no melachah involved, right? When you bread the piece of chicken, right? But what is the prohibition? Because of the extra effort. Again, our rabbis try to protect us from ourselves. B. Larger kugel. It is forbidden to make a larger than necessary kugel on Yom Tov if one intention is to use some of it second day of Yom Tov, because it is necessary to peel more potatoes in order to make larger kugel. This extra effort is forbidden on Yom Tov. So, I mean, if you know you're not going to eat that much because it's very a lot of calories, it's like not like filling. So I mean, it feels very, very good. So you can eat like few pieces of kugel, and you'd be like full. Okay. Right. So they say if you're going to plan to cook a large kugel, So for sure you need to do different Melachah, not Melachah of cooking. Cooking is, as we said, it's the same act, right? You put it into the oven and that's it. It cooks, right? But the problem is that with different Melachah, or borer, or sorting, meaning that you have to peel potatoes. Okay. Peel potatoes and then I think grate it. So all this extra efforts. C. Blintzes and latkes. It is forbidden to cook or fry extra food. When doing so involves separate acts of melacha, each piece, right? For sure, it's like it takes time and extra efforts. Since frying blintzes and latkes calls for turning each piece in a frying pan, it is forbidden to fry more than the amount that is might be needed or on that day of Yom Tov. Meaning what? That as we said, it's very interesting when you take in order to flip over, so you have to take out, like pick up a little, well, it doesn't matter how much, but you take it out, so and then you put it like back, so it's considered like an extra melacha of cooking. Very interesting. Okay, so it's individual pieces forbidden. Okay, so example D, stuffed cabbage, kreplach. So kreplach is like ravioli, something, right? Ashkenazi style. Since making stuffed cabbage or kreplach requires additional significant effort to prepare each piece for cooking, it is forbidden to make more of these foods than needed on Yom Tov. So for sure, it takes very long time, right? So, because those are individual pieces. So again, it's preparation efforts. However, if the pieces have been prepared before the Yom Tov, all of them may be inserted in the pot, placed on the fire together, even though there are more than necessary. So here, as we said, if you can do, since there is no preparation. So I took from refrigerator, for example, we prepared this stuffed cabbage before. So we can transfer to the pot and put it on a stove. There is no problem. Okay, continue. Last one. Cooked fruit, jello. Since cooked fruit and jello that are prepared before the Yom Tov is as tasty as that which prepared on Yom Tov, one must, when possible, cook those foods prior to Yom Tov. Okay, very straightforward. One who did not do so may cook them on Yom Tov by employing shinui. Right? There is first putting the pot on the fire and then adding the ingredients, or vice versa, in opposite of usual manner. Okay, so as we say, shinui like opposite of whatever you usually do. Okay, so shinui, I guess, making coffee, for example, you do pour water and then put sugar and coffee. Right? I'm talking the instant coffee. And that's maybe somebody does it, but I think most of the people would put sugar and coffee and then add water. Okay, so that's the shinui. Okay, we can stop here. We'll finish this chapter. I mean, as you see, very, very small chapter. The next topic is the kindle and fire. We'll do it next time. Okay, any questions on what we said? What we did not say? Okay.
Rabbi?
Yes, go ahead.
There's a question on the board.
Mm-hmm.
It says, thank you very much for the shiur. I read from Rabbi Avigdor Miller Zatzal that usually husbands, when they return from work, they can complain about the stress at work about some coworkers, which in many cases are well-based, those complaints. However, the rabbi concealed was that the wife should divert the conversion and probably avoid Lashon hara. My question is, how to help the husband is he's too stubborn to accept his failing, he's falling into Lashon hara, since his reaction could be a bit out of place because he alleges the person in question is non-kosher. Or would it be a better midah for the wife to just to remain silent and not divert the conversation and instead maintain shalom bayit? Thank you, Rabbi.
So it's a very, very good question. So as a general rule, spouses should not rebuke each other because why? Because it's not going to work very well for each of them and for shalom bayit in general, right? So if it's possible, if she can change the topic of the conversation, just ask him or whatever he likes. Like not everything is negative. Hopefully, not everything is negative in his life, right? And try to change the topic, right? But if she would change the topic on herself, that would be disaster also. So if he's so stubborn and he needs to vent out, right? So in some cases, it would be allowed for her just to listen. Of course, she's not allowed to believe anything that he said, and try to constructively help him. I don't remember if we posted this video or not. That the role of a woman, of a wife, is not of course she's subordinate to a man, right? But on one hand, but on the other hand, it says that she's a helper against him. No, here we go. It's a different video. So she's a helper against him. So meaning if he's deserving, so she's going to be supportive. He's not deserving, so she's going to be against him, right? And one very important point also that she's not there only to support him, meaning that whatever he does, and she should agree it automatically. The wife, in her woman's great wisdom, sixth sense, right? So she has to try to direct him to the right path, ask him questions, try to make him think, because man, many times I decided I'm the man of the house, and it's going to be like I said, because why? Because I said it. That's the only reason. So she very nice, politely, but try to ask him a question, try to let him think, and try to stop him from all of the rational decisions. Men is many times very rational. Especially they don't learn Torah, so they decided. But that's her job, right? Sometimes listen from the beginning to the end, and try to change his mind, right? But if he's stubborn, so the only stubborn, all of the bad character traits comes only from not learning Torah. So Hashem said, I created hara, and I created this. What is it? I created Torah as an antidote. So if he would learn more Torah, all of these things, the job, all of the crazy people would not bother him. Okay, so he would see all of the things much different. So it's my tikkun, it's my correction. So instead of me being chas v'shalom sick, right, with a tube sticking into my nose, right, in a hospital, so I'm going to get aggravated from this boss, from this coworker. Okay, so if you take it with love, so and don't take him seriously, this clown, right? So that's the life is much more different. So I mean, he's yelling, but you're thinking about something else. You understand? So I remember me, unfortunately, I did few mistakes because I was not careful in my job, and company lost a lot of money. Of course, they yell at me, this and that. So I was keep quiet. I knew if I'm going to answer, they can fire me, and they were right. Whatever I truly made a mistake. I forgot. Whatever, company lost money. So I'm not the only one, because other people, company lost much more money than me. Okay. So, but I was keep quiet, and that's it. So the guys went it out. Okay, so. So he said he was yelling and screaming, and remembered all of the bad things that I ever did in the company. Right? True, not sure. Of course, they don't think about all of the good things, all the overtime. That's irrelevant. But then he would ask, well, what do you have to say? I say, I apologize. It was my mistake. Okay, I apologize. What can I do? And that's it. So after you apologize, so and the guy he already said in 7 minutes he was yelling, he like cursing, no, not cursing, but yelling, right, screaming, and he was right. Like in my mind, he was 100% right. Even if they would let me go, I agree 100%. That's a proper way to do. But since I did not I did not resist, the guy stopped, and that's it. Yeah. Understand? So it happened to me a few times. I told my wife, probably today is my last day because of what I did last night. Like my heart stopped. She said, but okay, Hashem has His own ways, and He keep me there working for many years. You understand? So if you take to the heart, like seriously, every clown on the street, and even if you did whatever I did, and I apologize. It was my mistake. I acknowledge it. I mean, it was obvious, but I acknowledge publicly that's what I did. It was not intentional because of this and that, and that's it. So, understand? So you can always find a peace with your coworkers. But if he would go head to head, or he keep quiet in the workplace and come home and went on his wife, that's not proper. So he has to learn Torah. When you learn Torah, you understand why you're here in this world, and the life flies very fast, and that's it. So today he's gone. Today he's there. Like I have this one anti-Semite guy, Andrew Cinquina. I still remember, Italian, and this Italian is most likely he was one of the people who his descendants. Who destroyed the Beis Hamikdash? Such an anti-Semite. Okay, he would be like all of this, whatever he did, right? Whatever he did, and people say, no, you have to go to this place to HI. I'm not going to complain to anybody. So let him do whatever he did, and whatever he did not bother me. It did not bother me at all. And guess what? How it finished? He quit. I mean, he found a new job and went. I stayed in the same company. So I said, look, you say maybe you have to leave. I said, I don't have to leave. I don't do anything bad, like this anti-Semite. You understand? So but it only comes when you learn Torah. So when you learn Torah, so this anti-Semite today he's here. Today you think that's the end of the world. Tomorrow he's gone. Hashem is going to take care of him. Right? Send him to better position, to worse position, kill him, and do him disable something. Why should I care? Understand? But it's only when you learn Torah. So the main problem with the husband is he does not learn enough Torah. He watches too much TV. So that's the wife's job. Okay. What else?
Hey, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
I have a question somewhat related to this topic. So I read some time ago in a book about marriage that when the husband has to spend a lot of time at home because he's either retired or he's working from home,
mm-hmm.
he has to try not to spend too much time at home when his wife is there with him, mm-hmm. because this could lead to shalom bayit.
Mm-hmm.
So considering how immodest the world out there is, in pretty much everywhere in the world. So where should we go?
So you can go and close the noise and learn Torah, and that's it. So me and my wife, we have different schedules, totally different schedules. So she's awake very late at night, and I get up very early in the morning. So we meet somewhere in during the noon or something. Not noon, like before noon, but you understand. So it was done intentionally, right? So it's her and her wisdom. I said, why you stay? So no, she said that's good. I cannot sleep, this and that. But then I figure out, and I figured out. She told me. So she said, don't you know that too much in closed space, that's not good. Okay. So I go learn. So I mean, she's here in the house. I go learn. So it's I'm not there. Understand? But if people are empty from the Torah, the men would one woman complained to me. right? That your husband, after like some age, I'm not sure though how old was he. I don't remember exactly, but it's irrelevant. But it's something that got in his mind, and he started like checking the parts where he's cooking. He got into cooking, but not cooking himself, but checking up on his wife. I said like this crazy guy. So why? Because he has nothing else to do. If he would have classes constantly or some Torah activity, go pray 3 times a day, right? So he would not have this extra time. And so all of this craziness comes because of the lack of the Torah law. And Hashem said, you must learn Torah day and night. So when you can learn astrology, as we said yesterday, right? When you find the time between day and night, this time does not exist. But if there is such a time, yeah, learn astrology, learn how to cook. But otherwise, yeah, learn Torah. Okay. You're welcome. So all the problems because of lack of learning Torah, all of them. That's it. Go ahead, sorry.
Now, what about if the guy has to work from home from 5-6 hours in a row from home? Should he lock himself up and?
Yes, I mean, if first of all, like it's better if you're working for concentration. So for concentration, it's better to if you can isolate, like have an office or make yourself office with a curtain or something like whatever situation is, and work from there. So I explained to your spouse that I need to concentrate. Look, they pay me money. We have to pay our bills. Have to work. That's it. So she does not have to be constantly like. We also had this guy. And the wife was calling like they newly married, but it was too much. She called him like maybe 5 times in 1.5 hours. He was in our house. Like it's too much. Discussing exactly nothing. So when are you coming back? He told her like I'm going to stay here. Whatever. I'm going back. She kind of calls back. Are you going to go this road or that road? Maybe you're going to stop like to pick up vegetables. Like all this craziness. That's also too much. She's trying to control him. I don't know where she get it from. Young people should not be like that. I understand the older people, but young people should not be so much like so much annoying. Okay, what else?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, so separation is good. So my wife, whatever she did, she was smart. She's still smart. Baruch Hashem.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Next question on the board says, Shalom Kol Rav. Question about Halachos of Brachos. Number 1. If we steam dough made of water, yeast, and flour, do we consider it to be bread and recite Hamotzi?
No. Steam is a liquid. It's a liquid. Yeah, so it would be cooked. It's cooked. So it's never bread. It's what is it? It's mizoines.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. So in order to be bread, so bread is a classic example that you make a dough and put it into the oven, right? And even you put some oil so it would not get stuck to the pan. That's nothing. And even if you put it on top, so we do. My wife does pitas, right? Pita at home. So like she would do it on a frying pan. Right? So it does not the bread. Of course, pita is 100% the bread. So it does not have to be in the oven. It could be on top. But it's she sprays a little oil, so it would not get burned. But that's it. It's for 100% bread. But if it would be liquid, or as we said, half submerged, that's already a problem. If it's covers, if deep fry, for sure it's cooking. A little oil, for sure it's baking, right? But if it's more than normal, for example, blintzes, all this latkes, usually people more than normal, so it is a problem. If it's a lot of flour there, usually it's not. I mean, usually not that. That's why it's not problem. But some other dishes, if it's only flour and water, it would be a problem. They're like a pancakes, right? Pancakes. So it is a problem if it's like a little more oil. So you would not be allowed to. So it's not known is it bread or not bread. So I would suggest say don't eat it without bread meal. So wash hands on a real bread and then eat those.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Number 2, if we add a small amount of discernible ingredient, such as spring onion, to the dough before steaming, would the product be considered bread family and therefore one recites meshoinus?
No. I mean, it's this question is related to the first. No, it's anyway. It's meshoinus. Anyway, so this extra vegetable do not change the thing. So yeah. So basically, so let me just explain in what situation it would change. In what situation it would change. There in Shulchan Aruch there is 3 examples, 3 opinions. Forget about example. 3 opinions. What the Pascha Baba Kesnin, right? The bread family is, right? So what is it? So one is so it's not bread, but it's in the bread family. So one example is that we're talking about that they call it packets. So packets what that you have something some dough, and inside you would have cheese, right? Different culture they have the different names of this dish, right? Or they have meat inside, or they have potato, or they have different vegetables like eggs or something like so and it would be baked without any liquid. So this is one of the examples of the, as they call it, packets. So it would be in bread family, right? But it would not be bread. So that's how vegetables can change status. So if you bake the same dough without these vegetables inside, so for sure it's bread. Doesn't matter how it looks. But with this vegetable, make it meshoinus, but bread family. There is meshoinus, not bread family, meaning what all the cooked dishes, right? Like ravioli, this spaghetti, this right, all of this cooked dough. That whatever, doesn't matter how much you eat, you're never going to have to say Birchas Hamazon. But bread family, that this example is packets. So in this, yes, if you eat enough and like amount for suffice for the whole meal, so you would say so that this bread family is going to be converted into real bread, and you will need to, if you intended to eat in the beginning, so you would wash your hands, right? For example, there is like used to buy like huge muffins. Like this muffin is very, very heavy. So all of them were dairy meaning milk, and it's like very, very like soft, like what is heavy. I never weighed them, but it's very heavy. So basically, if you eat the whole muffin, so for sure, like or 1.5 muffin, it's a meal for sure. So on a muffin like that, I would go and wash my hands, and it's for me it's bread 100%. It's like sweet and has blueberry, schmookberry, like sugar on top. Doesn't matter. It's 100% bread. Because why? Because it's my whole meal. Of course, I eat something else on the side. I have coffee, this and that. But since you would, according to some opinion, it's very strong opinion. It says if you would eat this amount of bread, right, with all of the side dishes, for sure. So it does not have to be like 4 ounces, right? It does not be 8 ounces. About 8 ounces. So in the Talmud, in Shulchan Aruch, there are two examples, two opinions. One is 3 eggs, and one is 4 eggs. So 3 eggs, 1 egg is 2 ounces, so it's 6 or 8 ounces. Okay, so according to one opinion, so you must eat 8 ounces, right, of bread, bread family products, and it's going to be like bread. Or according to another opinion, which is very strong opinion, so it's a very important opinion, say even if you eat 2 ounces of this bread family product, but it's going to be your full meal, for sure you're going to wash your hands. So that these small packets, whatever you call it, right, for sure it's going to be bread. If you have a lot of vegetables, you eat these 2 pieces, right, and you stuffed, for sure you're going to have to say birchas hamazon, right. What else?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, you're welcome.
A friend says, sorry, I'm not sure I fully understand. For steaming, only the bottom layer of the pot has water, and the dough itself would not have contact with the liquid. So why is it cooking but not baking?
So I think the way I understand steaming. So steaming is actually comes from the steam. Steam is evaporation of the water. So it is liquid. So liquid actually comes to the dumplings or whatever they do. Right? When we do baking meaning you put in a hot oven, for example, right? And it's a heat, like dry heat from all over. Apologize, not necessarily dry heat. So my wife does bread. I apologize. So she said it was, you know why it was so dry? I said I don't know why it was so dry. So I did not put they recommend to put some container of water, and it's going to create like moisture, like it's some. I mean that's too complicated for me. But so basically in the last stage of baking bread, she would put some water, some container of water, and it's going to evaporate and make the bread better, puffy. So, but it's still it was not liquid because it was done through the heat, or like the pita bread, as we said, right? You do on the top of the frying pan, so no liquid. But there in the steaming, the main thing that cooks it is not heat like from the pot, but actually the liquid, the water that is being evaporated.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next question. Shalom, Kavod. Could Kavod please teach us how to answer to a criticism about taking care of books? Since the critic is that the person worships the books. The reason of the criticism is because the person washes their hands and usually do netilat yadayim without blessing, and holds the books with a piece of fabric, especially the Chumash and Sidur. This is when the periods of time of the reading are long. Thank you, Rabbi.
There is no such. First of all, we have to say that there is no such a blessing on the washing of the hands. So this is 100% blessing in vain. We don't say blessing on washing our hands before reading from Chumash, let's say. It's absolutely forbidden. The only time when you say blessing on washing of the hands is when you wake up, right? In the morning you wash your hands, you make the blessing even later on, but on this washing. And second time you make a blessing only on the washing before eating bread. Right, even though it says proper when you eat the moist food, right? You also use your hands. You want to eat the apple, right? So it's proper to wash your hands the same way you wash for bread. But since there is a doubt and there is other opinion, so we don't make a blessing. So the only time we make blessing on what is it, on the washing of the hands, and these 2 occasions. That's it. Before eating bread and after the morning. Right. So other times when we wash our hands many times during the day, like after visiting the restroom. So, but we don't make the blessing on the washing of the hands. You make the blessing after visiting the restroom, right? So, for sure, that person does not know. That's problem number one. First of all, it's not necessary. You see, there's a big difference. I see what confusion is coming from. There is a big difference between Chumash, like printed one, and Sefer Torah. So Sefer Torah, you're not allowed to touch with your bare hands. That's a person 100% right. I mean, when person is right, and of course he's going to write and he's going to touch with the bare hands on somebody sewing the Sefer Torah, the sheets, there is no problem. That's of course. I mean, you're not going to do it in gloves. That's understandable. But we who read from Sefer Torah, for example, this guy Balkore has this yad, they call yad, like hand. This sometimes many times is silver, so it's like a pointer, right? And with a finger, and he shows you where he reads, right? Or some people don't like that, and they just point with the finger. But whatever they do, nobody touches the Sefer Torah. Nobody touches it's a big desecration. And sometimes when we pick up, so I'm talking about Ashkenazi Torah on two scrolls, right? On two rolls. When we pick up and it's very old, right, Sefer Torah, so it becomes like puffy, right, from the age. So sometimes it falls from the rollers. So of course everybody keep quiet. So it's not proper to touch it. It's absolutely forbidden. So what a person say with his talis, for example, it's a Monday and Thursday in the morning, right, or Shabbos morning. So with his talis, he would pick up touch the parchment, even though there are no letters. Forget about letters, even though an empty space, right? And or if it's so sometimes you don't have talis. Like for example on Shabbos afternoon, we also read Torah. So he would take this gartel, this belt from the Torah, something, and touch the Torah scroll. But because of the Torah scroll holiness, there is no such a holiness in the printed books. So you're allowed to take it with your hands. Of course, it's proper to wash your hands and not to do it with the dirty hands. If you're going to if you want to just transfer, put it back on the shelf. So you're not obligated to wash your hands. Just if you're going to learn, so it's proper to wash your hands before the learning, not before the touching the book. There's nothing to do with the book. There's not such a holiness in printed book. So I think person just mistaken. Did we miss anything from the questions? What is it? Something else? Or no?
Not sure. I mean, at the beginning of the question, it says that how to respond, how to answer to a criticism about this issue.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, just bring. Okay, so if it's between husband and wife, as you said, it's not appropriate. So it's going to create strife, and that's it. So it has to come from the third party. So maybe we can make a clip from this, so I can send it. So just anonymously, somebody asked. And here we go. Just cut, without question. Just cut and give just the answer. What is proper halacha? Right. So especially we see what we're trying to do. We're trying to learn 50% halacha and 50% hashkafa, like Jewish ideology. Because without Jewish ideology, you don't know how to apply this halacha. So if somebody just learning Musar, he's an animal. He would rebuke everybody for no reason, right? If he just do halacha, so he also does not know when to apply it. You understand? So that's why we have to learn half of this and half of this. So without halacha, it's clear. It's in the beginning of Shulchan Aruch, all these things. When washing of the hands, for sure, like a kitzur, and Sefer Torah. It's in our books that we read in the first volume. Yeah. So just feed this answer indirectly, right? Or find in Shulchan Aruch itself. So it's very easy to find. Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and present it. Let's read it together. So it's very interesting. I thought about what you said about this blessing, but I'm very interested. Let's see when I did not know what you said. So let's see what other instances you have to say the blessing. Let's see. And let's Kitzur Shulchan Aruch speak to this person. Me or Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. I mean, and just so the person would see with his own eyes, with your own eyes. That's whatever they do is not proper, right? And there is also one separate siman on how to treat books. So you're not allowed to put it face down. So you're not allowed to sit where the book is and stuff like that. So, right, all of this like how like what book you can put on top of the other. So right, what book are important? So if it's Chumash, so it's more important. So sometimes I would carry books, and sometimes I would have, for example, if it's a Rambam or Rashi, right? So it comes in five volumes, and another Chumash would be like all 5 books in one volume. So of course I cannot put one volume on top of the 5, so I have to 5 put on top of the 1. So even though this Torah and this Torah, it does not make any difference. Right, this is 5, this is 1. Right? Or I have one Chumash, and I have the whole Novi, let's say in one book, Nach. So of course I put Chumash on the Nach, even though it's only one book. Right, so I think it's would be advisable. So the things like to discuss around the table. This Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. It's very, very beneficial, very like, as you saw, like short halachas. He's to the point. Like if you start learning Shulchan Aruch with Mishnah Berurah, I mean, I love it. Me personally, I love it. But it goes in very big details, and you, like, sometimes you want to finish one siman, it's going to see if it's going to take you, I don't know, 3 days. So it's not easy. So, but when you go like Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, like shorter to the point, I think it would be very beneficial for everybody. I try to learn it around the table, Shabbos table.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Our friend says, our friend's clarifying this question, says, Shalom Kol Rabbi, the example is the person does Netilat Yadayim without blessing.
Without blessing?
Yep.
No, but without blessing, it's proper. I mean, if not for touching the book, but even when person is ready to learn, there is no problem. Yeah, it's proper to wash his hands. If he knows that his hands are unclean, understand? If he just came from the restroom, right? So he just used the facility, he washed his hands. So why would he wash the second time? That's a craziness. Understand?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, you're welcome. Or in another example, a person just finished his meal, right? So the wash before they finished meal, he said Birchas Hamazon. Now he wants to learn. He does not need to go wash his hands unless he scratched himself in a place where he usually covered. What is the point? Like, don't drive yourself and other people crazy.
Thank you, Rabbi. Our friend says, yes, example is the person does Netilat Yadayim without blessing, yet was criticized as worship the books.
No,
Worshipping the books.
We don't worship the books. We treat the books with respect. So, but again, it's the washing is not connected to the touch in the book. The washing is connected to the studying of the Torah. So meaning what? So if I know, I just took off my shoes, for example. I have shoes with laces. So if without laces, that's not a problem. So I took off my shoes. So meaning what? My hands are impure. So now I have 15 minutes before the class, let's say, right? And I want to listen to the lecture, like 15 minutes. So for this, of course, I have to go and wash my hands. Doesn't matter. It's not the book. Doesn't matter. It's the words of the Torah. I have to wash my hands. So we're not washing the books. It's a proper to learn Torah. Doesn't matter. It's from audio, from video from the book, right? With the clean hands, spiritually clean. Of course, the person could come from the shower, right? Of course, he cleaned himself, right? But since he touched all of these places that usually cover, and now he wants to learn the Torah after the shower, yeah, must wash his hands. Is other clean, right? Physically, of course, they're physically clean, but not enough for spirituality. That's it. So we're not worshiping books. We wash hands before learning Torah.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
So the person has to, bottom line, that has to respond that if he's criticized as worshiping the books because being careful and washing his hands before touching them, as a
So they say the halacha is to wash the hands before learning Torah. That's so this washing of the hands is not connected to the books, but to learning Torah. As I said, example, even if you're going to listen to the lecture, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, so you wash your hands. So it's not about the books. Okay, what else?
Thank you, Rabbi. Next question says, when taking custom and conversion process, should one be concerned about the wig but headscarf dispute? About the wig/headscarf dispute. I know wigs are avodah zarah and are not allowed, but I'm concerned about provoking others to speak Lashon hara when most people in that community are wearing wigs. On the other hand, if choosing Sephardic custom, it seems to avoid this problem. Is this a legitimate worry when picking customs?
Okay, that's okay. So let's take a step back. So choosing custom. So wigs are allowed when it's not from avodah zarah. So if you can verify that it's not from avodah zarah, meaning that you have another woman and she donated her hair and they made the wig from her hair, and you know that she's not idol worship, so it's not avodah zarah. So according to Ashkenazi custom, if it's modest, if it would be like before above the shoulder level, right, very modest, very short, right, it would be allowed. Right, if people in that community do not they all are wearing the wigs, so are they going to speak Lashon hara? Let's say if Ashkenazi community, maybe yes, maybe not. I mean, even if they're going to speak, it's going to die down very, very fast. As we know the story of Rabbi Akiva when he said, "How come I'm going to go to school to learn alphabet, aleph beis with these 5 years old kids? They are all laughing at me, they're all talking well Lashon hara. This grandpa came to pick up somebody. No. He actually learned with us. He knows as much as we. Ha. He. Right? And he was very embarrassed. He came to his wife Rachel and said, Rachel, my dear, look, I love you very much. I know that I promised. I cannot do it. This kid's making fun of me. Right? Well, what she said, take it down. She said, okay, I understand. Do this favor for me, right? To me, take a donkey, put on top of the donkey this flower pot, and go to the market. Go and walk around the market, come back. Walk a few hours. So that's what he did. So he came home and she said, how did it come? How did it go for you? He said, it's disaster. We're going to laughing, and adults and children and everybody, old and young and cripple and this, everybody was laughing. He said, okay, no problem. You love me, I love you, so do it for me next day. But by the end of the week, to make the story short, right? She said, so how did it go? He said, nobody paid attention to me. Somebody said, that's who is this? A crazy guy. It's our crazy guy. So they don't start paying attention. Same with the covering head with a scarf. So even though it's not custom to the community, so first of all they maybe speak for some time, right? And then they're going to stop. They're going to stop. But with a big advantage, maybe you're going to encourage somebody else to do that. Many people they cannot stand up. They cannot stand out. They have to follow the flow, even though they know deep inside that is not right. And I have many people, men and women, who contacted me with this, and they say, I cannot do it. I cannot. Like the community, well, like my family is like, they tell you the truth. Like, with a broken heart. So that like what my family is going to say, what community is more saying, like more important than Halachah, unfortunately. And they say, I know it's wrong, but I'm a weak person. I cannot do that. Fortunately, I have a friend to do this relationship, that relationship. But if they see somebody, at least one person, stands out and does what is correct, so right. So it's like for other people, it would be much easier to do what they always wishes to do, but they were afraid because of what community say. You understand? So, and I have one woman that reached out. They gave me my number from Europe. So they moved from Israel to Europe, and one of the country. I'm not going to say which one. And there, everybody wearing wig, and even the Rebbetzin. So like she was pushing, for sure, she was pushing this lady. And I said, "What is your husband saying?" He said, "Absolutely not." So very anxious about the shul. So he said, "No, we don't do that." But she said, "What should I do? That's the only shul in that city, and he has a job, and this whatever we have to." So I said, "Don't go to the shul." Who said that a woman need to go to the shul? Okay, so don't socialize with these women. Okay, right, Rebbetzin. Let her be a Rebbetzin. Show her our videos about. They speak English. I think they always speak English about the wigs. Okay. So I'm not sure. I mean, she never contacted me again, but at least I think I gave her strong enough chizuk to continue doing whatever what she did. I do not know. I never asked, but there is some pressure. So your job is like Rabbi Akiva. Just ignore it. Just smile. Thank you very much. Thank you for your advice. I have to go. Where you have to go? Have to feed my husband. I have to take care of the kids. Right? I have to do whatever I have to do. Okay. And that's it. So a few times you give these people cold shoulder, like you do not care. So they're going to leave you alone. Are they going to speak Lashon hara? I mean, it's their business. It's not like you're doing something wrong. Why speaking Lashon hara? So because you're not one of them? Okay, who said they have to be one of them? Maybe they have to be one of you. Right?
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Okay, you're welcome. So basically, be strong, and that's it. Do the right thing, and don't pay attention to all of these gossip mongers. Why? Because if not this, they're going to find something else. What do you think? You're going to give them new ideas. They're going to find the ideas even though they do not exist. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
So, some time ago, I wrote in the Shabbos in one of the commentaries that it says that a person, the only way he can get to the sweetness of Torah or to achieve something on Torah, I believe it says he has to be willing to kill himself for it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the commentaries is that the person has to be deemed as dead. He has to be considered as if he was dead, of course, to other people. So there's this story that this guy told his wife that she may not interrupt him while studying Torah because she has to think of him as if he was dead. So my question is, are we allowed to tell this off to the people that constantly interrupt us when we're either praying or studying? Because this is like a very strong statement, like saying people, okay, listen, I'm going to study, I'm going to pray, I'm going to do something holy, so just pretend that I just died, that I'm not here.
Yeah.
Can we say this to people?
We can, for sure, we can say it to people, yes. Okay, so, but you see, in a shul, like for example, if you're praying, so you just ignore, you see, you're looking at the book. That's it. So one time, so in all of the shuls that I went, everybody knew that I'm not going to respond. Whatever they say, I'm not going to respond, period. Okay, they do blessing, like I bow or something, like smile, whatever, by bow, but like wave of the hand, somebody to say good morning or something. So I'm not going to talk. And then the people got used to it, and nobody bothers me, like ever. Like so, sometimes they forget, no, just, uh, just, just show show with your face. Is it this or that? So I mean, I say yes, like I say no, and whatever that's they understand. As we said, go back to the story of Rabbi Akiva. People who'd like to talk, they always look for easy target. So the easy target that is going to respond in no time. Understand? But you're such a stubborn. I have to wait 15 minutes, 100 minutes, 3 hours, 7 hours. So you know what? I'm going to find somebody else. So Baruch Hashem, go find somebody else to talk. Understand?
Thank you, Rabbi.
No, yeah, you're welcome. So basically, people who do not have a fear of Hashem and they do not know that they have to learn, so they do not care about their future. For sure, they do not care about your future. Understand? So I'm going to take advice of like pressure from that person who does not care about me or about himself. Of course not. So I spare him from doing something wrong, from interacting with me. Why he's not responding? Okay, what else?
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Next question says, Shalom Kol Rav. Can we remove the edges of the bread to place them in the coffee during Shabbos? Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Can you say again? Can you do what?
Remove the edges of the bread and place them in the coffee during Shabbos.
Okay, so here's the thing. So let me explain two separate things. So one thing is kabbalistically, if you eat the end of the bread, whatever end of the bread, you're going to forget your Torah. So some people they do like this with a knife and remove the tiniest portion, whatever portion is like half of the crumb. That's basically it is enough that you don't eat the side of the bread. Right, so like halachically there is no problem, but kabbalistically, okay. So I mean, we still do that. If sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't remember. Okay, but the very tip of the bread, right? But the problem is, for example, if we talk like in general crumbs, right? If you have bread crumbs and you don't waste it, you want to put it in a coffee. If it's in the matter of the meal, there is no problem, because but if it's like if it's during the bread meal, there is no problem. But if there is no bread meal, that could be a problem. So the question, if you need to say the blessing chamotzi actually on these breadcrumbs. So as we said, on any amount of food, there is no minimal amount of food on which you have to say the blessing. So it's not such an easy thing. Of course, some people say if it depends on the coffee, it's very hot, so that maybe the bread was cooking in there. Maybe after it was placed there, you no longer see it. Maybe it's dissolved. So, I mean, it's a little complicated. But if it's during the meal, there is no problem whatsoever. Let's put it this way. And it's not disrespect to the bread. But if somebody cooked the breadcrumbs, so that's and less than kizais, and you cannot identify the bread, so they've been nullified. It's no longer bread. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Let's see more questions on the board. No. May I ask one last question?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I know this may sound odd, but if a woman that we know that is religious reaches out to us directly without someone in between, should we consider this as immodest?
I mean, it depends what she wants. Like if it's personal, so it would be modest. But if it's like some business wise, so like it depends.
No, something personal, actually.
I mean, personal, like you have to find out what exactly she wants. Like, be direct. How can I help you? So I had this person and actually guy. I forget about the guy, and I could not understand what does he want from me. So he went around the bush. So I asked him 3 times. Please explain it. Like ask your question directly. How can I help you? Like what can I do for you? You understand? So I on third time when I asked the third time, he just disappeared. I don't know. But I also do not understand. So, but it's proper to ask if you do not understand where is it going. So you ask a direct question: how can I help you? What can I do for you? Like, right? Because some people have a long introduction. So I always apologize. Maybe person, just tell me. I mean, I agree. Just whatever you're going to tell me, it's good. But first, tell me. How can I help him? Well, maybe it doesn't. Whatever you say, it's not relevant. I'm not going to do it. Right. So start with the main point.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there's some questions, and that was my last question for the day. Thank you, Rabbi.
Hashem, thank you very much. So please join us tomorrow, same time. We're going to learn kosher kitchen. All right. Good night. Thank you very much.
Rabbi, good night.